If you plant the wrong tree at your front gate, no amount of hard work will fix your finances. It sounds harsh, but thousands of homes quietly lose their luck because of this single mistake. You might be one of them. She thought the issue was overspending. Maybe she needed to cut her coffee habit, cancel a few subscriptions, or finally use that budget tracker app. But even after all those efforts, something still drained her life. Her house began to feel dim. Visitors stopped coming by. And every morning she noticed the same thing. That beautiful potted plant near the front gate never seemed to grow. In Feng Shui, your front gate isn't just a boundary. It's the energy gate of your entire life. It's where fortune enters. When the flow is strong, opportunities come effortlessly. But if the gate is blocked by clutter, the wrong layout, or a plant with the wrong symbolism, you're not just decorating badly. You're quietly closing the door to your own abundance. And here's the twist. The plants we place with love can sometimes be the very reason we feel stuck, anxious, or financially drained. This video is more than decoration tips. It's about energetic survival. You'll learn which trees act as guardians of wealth and which ones quietly pull your fortune underground. Before another month slips by, ask yourself, what stands at your gate? And is it helping you grow or holding you back? Section 1. 5 Sacred Trees That Guard and Gather Wealth. Number 1. Rubber fig, the silent sentinel. You don't always see what's protecting you. But when protection disappears, you feel it immediately. Like the air gets heavier, like your thoughts don't land right, like things around you keep breaking, even when you've done everything right. That's exactly what the rubber fig tree is for, silent protection. Quiet, invisible, but unwavering. And when placed at your front gate, it doesn't just sit there for decoration. It works. This tree is known for its thick, glossy, dark green leaves. Leaves that seem to absorb not just light, but pressure. It stands firm, weather-resistant, unbothered by shifting conditions. In Feng Shui, it's one of the most powerful guardian trees, acting like a natural shield for your home's entrance. Not all homes need something soft and flowy. Some need strength. And the rubber fig gives exactly that, without shouting, without trying to be noticed. The front gate of a home is vulnerable. It's where all energies meet, what comes in, what lingers, what's invited, and what is. It's also where people unknowingly welcome stress into their homes. Arguments that start at the door, delivery delays, missed connections, unexpected breakdowns. It's not bad luck. Often, it's just mismanaged energy flow. The rubber fig tree blocks what doesn't belong. This tree works especially well in homes near busy roads, corners, or direct driveways. Those locations act like energetic highways, fast-moving, chaotic, unstable. If left unfiltered, that energy rushes into your living space, making you feel agitated without knowing why. The rubber fig creates a buffer, like standing behind someone solid during a storm. It doesn't stop life from happening, but it gives you a moment to breathe, center, and act from clarity. There's something profoundly grounding about this tree. It doesn't demand light, praise, or even daily attention. It simply stands, dense, steady, and loyal. And this matters, especially if you're someone who often gives more than you receive. The rubber fig restores balance. It teaches your environment to hold its ground, which teaches you to do the same. People who place this tree near their front gates often report strange patterns. Their homes start to feel more anchored, sleep improves, unexpected visitors come less often, and daily mishaps. Misplaced keys, miscommunication, spilled drinks start to fade. That's not superstition. That's order. The rubber fig helps restore the energy of boundaries. From a practical view, it also improves air quality. Studies show it reduces indoor toxins, absorbs fine particles, and even helps neutralize electromagnetic stress from nearby electronics or street wiring. But the real power is spiritual. It protects your gate, which means it protects your intentions. To place it correctly, start by clearing the space. No clutter, no broken pots, no sharp objects around it. Think of this tree like a sentinel. It needs room to see clearly. Place it slightly off-center from the gate, never blocking the path, but firmly grounded in its own space. The pot should be solid, ceramic, concrete, or clay, and placed on a clean, stable surface. Water it regularly, but avoid overwatering. This tree doesn't like soggy roots. It prefers structure, just like your life energy does. Avoid placing other tall or dramatic plants right beside it. The rubber fig doesn't compete, but it should stand alone, quietly claiming its post. Over time, you'll begin to feel the difference. Fewer distractions, less anxiety when coming home, a sense of safety that wasn't there before. If your home feels constantly off, doors sticking, electronics glitching, tension in the air, you might be lacking a grounding force at your entrance. The rubber fig is that force. It doesn't promise miracles, but it promises order. And when your energy is no longer leaking at the gate, everything inside the home begins to recalibrate. So before you light candles, hang wind chimes, or rearrange your furniture, ask yourself a deeper question. Who's standing guard at your gate? What protects you when you're asleep? What filters what enters and what stays out? The rubber fig may not speak, but it listens. It absorbs, it softens the blow of unseen forces, and most importantly, it holds the line quietly always for you. Number 2, palm tree, the pillar of flow. You can tell a lot about a home from the way the air feels at the front gate. Some places feel tense before you even knock. Others, without words or welcome mats, feel open like they've already exhaled. More often than not, that feeling comes from the space being energetically clear. And the palm tree does that better than almost any other plant. Unlike dense, heavy trees that crowd the entrance, the palm is clean, simple, and generous. It doesn't block, it invites. Its trunk rises tall and narrow, not fighting for space, not demanding attention. The fronds fan out with just enough presence to signal life, but never enough to dominate the flow. This is the magic of the palm tree. It creates movement without chaos, structure without rigidity, lightness without emptiness. In Feng Shui, the front gate is known as the mouth of energy. It's where everything enters your home: health, money, relationships, even the mood you carry inside after a long day. If that entrance is cluttered or blocked, the energy can't circulate. You might feel stuck. You might come home tired and leave tired even if everything inside looks beautiful. This isn't about aesthetics, it's about flow. And the palm restores that. Palms are especially powerful in homes where energy tends to get trapped, like those near crowded intersections, narrow lots, or apartment blocks with limited front yard space. While other trees grow outward, taking up space, the palm grows upward. It creates space. It clears the vertical plane above the gate, letting energy rise, circulate, and move freely into your home. You don't feel pushed when you walk past a palm. You feel lifted. There's something cleansing about a row of palms leading up to a home. They don't pull your gaze, they gently escort you inward. It's like walking through an invisible hallway of calm, and that feeling matters. People carry energy home with them, stress from work, conversations that left them uneasy, errands that went wrong. If the path to your door feels crowded or harsh, it multiplies that stress. But if it feels open, your breath slows, your heart softens. You re-enter your life more gently. That's the power of the palm. It doesn't just let energy in. It prepares you to receive it. Unlike many plants, palms don't need to be dramatic. In fact, the simpler, the better. A single palm on either side of the gate is enough to reshape how energy enters. The best varieties are those with slender, upright trunks and spaced-out leaves. Nothing too bushy, nothing drooping. Think of it like a vertical invitation to rise above your day. When placing a palm, avoid planting it directly in the walking path. Let it frame the entrance, not block it. Distance matters. Space between the fronds and the door gives room for energy to expand. You want people to walk through an energetic opening, not around an obstacle. Symbolically, palms represent endurance and resilience. They bend in the wind without breaking. Their roots hold ground without overpowering it. And their form encourages light, air, and presence. For people who feel mentally cluttered or emotionally overwhelmed, planting a palm is like creating a daily reminder. You are not stuck. Energy moves, so can you. From a practical standpoint, palms are low maintenance. They thrive in well-drained soil, tolerate heat and light, and require minimal pruning. But the true care comes in placement. Uneven palms or messy surroundings can disrupt their quiet power. Keep the base clean, free from fallen leaves or old debris. Treat it like a sacred corridor, not just landscaping. Some homeowners report that after adding palms, their morning routines change. They step outside earlier. They take deeper breaths. They notice more light. These aren't coincidences. This is what happens when your home stops suffocating at the entry point. So if your gate feels crowded, by plants, by noise, or even just by tension, consider the palm. It won't transform your life overnight, but it will change the quality of your arrival. And sometimes, that's where all healing begins. Not in the rooms where we sleep, but in the space where we first come home to ourselves. The palm doesn't ask for attention. It offers attention to the air, to the light, to the rhythm that carries you in and out each day. It is a pillar of flow, a vertical breath, a reminder that clarity is not a luxury. It's a structure you can grow. Number 3, Fragrant Dracaena, the quiet treasure chest. Most people have never seen a fragrant Dracaena bloom. That's because it only flowers when it's old enough, peaceful enough, and rooted in the right kind of environment. It's not a plant that responds to pressure. It responds to harmony. And when it does bloom, white blossoms opening gently in the stillness of night, it carries a message that words can't quite explain. Something is finally aligned. In Feng Shui, the fragrant Dracaena is one of the most revered symbols of accumulated wealth and stored fortune. It doesn't chase abundance, it holds it, slowly, quietly, faithfully. That's why many practitioners call it a living treasure chest. The energy it builds isn't fast or loud, it's patient, and in that patience lies its power. The base of this plant often swells slightly, resembling a container or vault, one that doesn't display its value but guards it. Its thick, glossy leaves grow in upward spirals like layers of steady intention. It doesn't sprawl, it doesn't scatter. It rises evenly with focus. And that, energetically, is what makes it ideal for financial grounding. Unlike flashy prosperity symbols, the fragrant Dracaena is understated. It blends into a space until one day it blooms, and you realize it's been gathering strength all along. Homeowners who have had this plant near their front gates often speak of subtle yet powerful shifts. Unexpected opportunities arise, delays clear. A sense of calm consistency returns to the household. And it's not because the plant performs magic. It's because it mirrors the flow it was allowed to grow in. This plant thrives on stable energy. That's why it should be placed near key energetic entry points like the front gate, not to block the path, but to hold the energy once it arrives. Think of it as a spiritual banker. It doesn't make the money, but it knows how to store and protect it. If you've ever felt like money slips through your fingers no matter how much comes in, this plant can help stabilize that leak, not by controlling your finances, but by rebalancing the energy field that holds them. The fragrant Dracaena is especially suited for entrepreneurs, freelancers, or those in transitional periods, people whose income may fluctuate, or whose lives often involve risk and expansion. This plant doesn't just invite fortune, it retains it. It teaches consistency. Its energy says what arrives here stays here if you're ready to hold it. Placement matters. Ideally, the plant should sit just to the right of your front gate as you face out, where the white tiger energy gathers. This side traditionally supports money and strategy. Don't place it in direct line with the door. Instead, give it a slightly recessed spot where it can observe without interfering. Use a sturdy, beautiful pot. Ceramic is ideal, symbolizing respect for what it holds. And never place it in plastic or lightweight containers. You don't store gold in cardboard. Care-wise, this plant prefers indirect light, moderate humidity, and well-drained soil. It doesn't thrive in extremes. It's a reminder that wealth, too, is best accumulated slowly in balanced conditions. Water when the soil feels dry to the touch. Overwatering leads to rot, just as overreaching can destabilize real success. Most importantly, pay attention when it blooms. That rare flowering, usually in the late evening or early dawn, signals something deeper than beauty. It often aligns with life transitions, a new job offer, a long-awaited deal closing, a family member's breakthrough. It's not about superstition, it's about sensitivity. The plant reflects your home's internal alignment. Some people say the blossom has a scent that isn't even floral, more like light itself becoming smell. Subtle but unforgettable. The kind of fragrance that doesn't shout from across the room, but stays with you long after you've walked away. That's the kind of energy this plant brings. If you're looking for a quick fix or a loud solution, this may not be your tree. But if you're ready to build something that lasts, to store not just wealth, but steadiness, gratitude, and clarity, then the fragrant Dracaena is more than a plant. It's a quiet agreement between your home and the life you're ready to grow into. A treasure chest doesn't announce itself, it simply waits, and when the time is right, it opens. Number 4, Dwarf Coconut, the gentle reservoir. Not all wealth comes from chasing. Some of it comes from holding quietly, steadily over time. That's the wisdom of the dwarf coconut tree. It doesn't tower over your yard. It doesn't bloom dramatically or fill the air with fragrance. But what it offers is rare. The ability to help you keep what you already have. In Feng Shui, the dwarf coconut is considered one of the most powerful symbols of retained fortune. Its short, thick trunk naturally swells with water, giving it a rounded, gentle shape that resembles a container of abundance. It doesn't stretch wide or grow erratically. It stays centered, balanced, and full. That form alone, smooth, stable, self-contained, is a quiet message to the energy field around your home. Wealth is welcome here, and it will stay. If you've ever felt like money comes in but disappears quickly, as if your income and your expenses are locked in an invisible tug-of-war, this plant was made for you. The dwarf coconut tree doesn't just attract prosperity, it regulates it. It calms down the frantic in-out cycle. It softens the push-pull. It creates a space where fortune can breathe. Placed correctly near the front gate, this tree supports the energy of long-term stability. Not overnight success, not sudden windfalls, but that rare feeling of I'm okay. We're okay. Things are finally holding together. That's the kind of wealth most people are really chasing. and this tree helps make that possible. From a symbolic perspective, the coconut's water-holding trunk connects to the water element in Feng Shui: fluidity, nourishment, emotional resilience. But unlike other water elements that flow or flood, this one contains. It's like a well that never dries. And for homes where money seems to slip away unnoticed, or where emotional tension tends to build without cause, the presence of this gentle reservoir makes a powerful difference. Its energy is soft but not weak. Think of it like a grandmother's presence, strong in her calm, wise in her stillness. People who plant the dwarf coconut tree often report subtle shifts. Bills that used to arrive all at once begin to stagger. Emergencies become less frequent. A sense of ease returns to household conversations. This is no coincidence. It's a result of rebalancing the energetic reservoir. For placement, avoid putting this tree directly in front of the entrance path. It should sit to the side, left or right depending on your home's layout, but never blocking the walkway. It should be far enough away to give space, but close enough to be felt. The soil must be loose and well drained. This tree doesn't thrive in stagnation. And just like the finances it symbolizes, the roots must have room to breathe. One of the most important Feng Shui rules with the dwarf coconut: never harm the trunk. Don't scratch it, carve initials into it, or allow it to become damaged. That rounded body is a symbol of your home's financial container. Damaging it is like creating a hole in your savings account. Treat it with the same respect you'd give to your bank's security system. Quiet, invisible, but absolutely essential. Unlike some plants that demand frequent attention, the dwarf coconut lives simply. It doesn't need daily watering, loud environments, or decorative fuss. But it does need emotional respect. The area around it should stay clean. Don't pile objects or trash near its base. Don't let weeds grow unchecked. The energy it holds must be matched by the space it's given. Some homeowners say they didn't even notice the shift at first, only that one day they realized the air felt lighter. Their home, for the first time in years, felt like a place that held something good. Not just memories, not just routines, but wealth in its truest sense. Security, peace, sustainability. If you're someone who feels like you're always starting over, or like every step forward is followed by something slipping through the cracks, this tree offers a simple, grounded shift. It won't change your life overnight, but it will change the way your life holds together. The dwarf coconut doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It just stays full. And if you're ready to stop living in cycles of gain and loss and start living in a rhythm of calm stability, then planting this tree might be the single most grounded choice you ever make for your home. Number 5, Freshwater Mangrove, the spiritual barometer. Not every sign of change is loud. Sometimes it's a flower that appears out of nowhere. A single bloom, crimson and delicate, swaying at your gate just as the morning sun breaks through the clouds. The freshwater mangrove doesn't bloom often, but when it does, it means something in your life is shifting. This tree is unlike any other. It's not planted for shade. It's not planted for fruit. It's planted for timing. Because when it blossoms, it does so in sync with your home's energy. In Feng Shui, that makes it rare, sacred even. It is known as a spiritual barometer, a living mirror that reflects the inner state of your home's Kai. The blossoms of the freshwater mangrove don't burst. They reveal themselves slowly, like whispers arriving one by one. When they appear, the energy around them changes. Some people say the light softens. Others feel a stillness that wasn't there before. It's not fantasy, it's resonance. The tree reads the frequency of your home and responds. If the space is calm, loved, and aligned, it blooms. If not, it waits. What makes this tree special isn't just its timing. It's the way it connects nature with meaning. Many families report a curious pattern. Whenever the mangrove blooms, good news follows. A child gets accepted into college. A business finally turns profitable. A conversation that's long been avoided suddenly unfolds with grace. It's not the tree causing these things. It's the tree echoing them. That's why the freshwater mangrove is best placed where you can see it every day, by the gate, near the entry path, or just outside a window that catches morning light. You don't need to interact with it constantly. You just need to witness it, because its role isn't to perform, it's to reflect. When it flourishes, it means your space is aligned. When it withers, it's a nudge to pay attention. Energetically, this tree brings in a gentle, upward movement. It doesn't rush energy in, it welcomes it softly. That's why it's perfect for households that have experienced stagnation. The feeling of nothing moving, nothing improving, nothing lifting. The freshwater mangrove changes that, not with drama but with ease. It invites life to rise again, quietly, respectfully, and in its own rhythm. Its crimson blossoms hang like silk threads from the branches, neither loud nor fragile but dignified. And the way they fall, softly, like a red carpet across the ground, feels like nature preparing a welcome. A signal that the home is ready to receive something new. People who tend to this tree often say, "It bloomed the day I got clarity. It bloomed right after we forgave each other. It bloomed when I stopped trying so hard." Those are not coincidences. They're confirmations. This is not a tree for everyone. If you want quick results, instant signs, or loud symbolism, this tree may feel too subtle. But if you're someone who values intuition, rhythm, and truth beneath the surface, then the freshwater mangrove is your quiet companion. It won't fix your life, but it will help you see your life more clearly. To plant it well, choose a space that receives morning sun but not full-day heat. The tree loves balance, moist but not soggy soil, open air but not constant wind. Treat its space as you would a sacred altar, free of clutter, respected for its silence. And most of all, be patient. It might not bloom this season, but when it does, you'll feel it, not just with your eyes, but with your heart. Homes with a freshwater mangrove often feel more spacious, not because the rooms are bigger, but because the energy breathes. There's a softness to the air, a kindness in the way people speak to each other, a clarity in daily choices. That's what happens when your gate isn't just protected or opened, but truly attuned. In a world full of noise, the freshwater mangrove teaches something revolutionary. Stillness is a message, beauty is a sign. And silence is not emptiness, it's alignment waiting to speak. So plant this tree not just for what it does, but for what it reflects. Let it grow beside your life like a companion. Let it bloom when it's ready. And when it does, know that something inside you has finally said yes. Section 2, 3 trees that destroy fortune. Number 1, cactus, the thorn that cuts energy. It looks harmless, cute even. A low-maintenance, stylish plant that fits perfectly on your porch or by the gate. You water it once a month, maybe less. It survives anything. And yet, if you've placed a cactus near your front door, you might have unknowingly invited tension, loneliness, and stagnation into your life. Cactus is a plant of survival. It thrives in isolation. It doesn't need company, comfort, or conversation. It lives with its guard up, literally. Its spikes are designed to keep the world out. And while that may make sense in the wild, it's a dangerous message to place at the very entrance of your home. In Feng Shui, the front gate is sacred. It's where energy enters. It's the mouth of your home's fortune, the space that determines what comes in and what stays out. When you place a spiked plant in that location, the energy doesn't soften, it sharpens. You're not welcoming abundance, you're deflecting it. And over time, that shows up in your life in small but persistent ways. Misunderstandings, unexpected delays, feelings of being stuck for no clear reason. Disconnection between family members, or a strange sense of being emotionally distant from the world even when you're surrounded by people. These aren't personality flaws, they're energy patterns. And in many cases, they start right at the gate. Cacti represent defense. They survive because they reject. Their entire energy field is about protection through isolation. That's why they're ideal for harsh, barren environments, not homes that are meant to hold warmth, connection, and flow. You might think, but it's just a plant, I love how it looks. That's fair, aesthetics matter. But in energy work, intention matters more. When you place a cactus near the entrance of your home, the subconscious message is clear. This space is closed. This life is guarded. Nothing gets in without a fight. And over time, that shapes the way you experience your own life. How people approach you, how money moves or doesn't, and how easily you recover from setbacks. This isn't about fear, it's about alignment. There are places where a cactus can serve you well. On a windowsill facing a harsh direction, in a distant corner of a backyard where strong external energy needs buffering. But not at the gate. Never at the gate. The spikes send out energetic vibrations that cut the chi, the life force, that's trying to flow into your space. Think of them like tiny swords disrupting the soft currents of opportunity and joy. You may not see it, but you'll feel it. That sense of everything being just a little harder than it needs to be, a little more distant, a little more tense. If you've noticed any of these patterns since placing a cactus near your entrance, fatigue that lingers, plans that don't unfold, tension that can't be explained, it's time to relocate the plant. Not throw it out. Just move it to a place where its energy matches the role, protection, not reception. When removing a cactus from the gate, do so gently, thank it. It was trying to help even if its method clashed with your needs. Then cleanse the space with something soft. A bowl of water with sea salt, a bell rung gently 3 times, or simply open the gate and let the wind pass through. The goal isn't ritual, it's reset. From there, ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to meet me when I come home? Spikes or softness, survival or belonging. Cactus teaches us something valuable. Not everything that survives well belongs everywhere. Strength is not the same as harmony. And defense is not always safety. If your front gate is where your life begins and ends each day, then it deserves a plant that opens, not closes. That calms, not cuts. That allows the world in. Not because you're unprotected, but because you've learned how to welcome with wisdom. Number 2, Weeping Willow, the curtain of parting. There's something hauntingly beautiful about a weeping willow. Its long, trailing branches sway like soft ribbons in the breeze, casting a graceful shadow wherever it grows. But behind that grace lies an energy that can quietly unravel the fortune of a home, especially when planted at the front gate. In Feng Shui, the shape and movement of a plant aren't just aesthetic choices, they're energetic statements. And the willow, for all its poetic beauty, carries an unmistakable tone of grief, farewell, and energy that flows away and does not return. That's why, despite its popularity in parks and riversides, it is one of the most ill-advised trees to place near the entrance of your home. The front gate is where energy enters, opportunities, health, financial blessings, and personal peace. That energy should be bright, clear, and upward moving. The weeping willow does the opposite. Its drooping form draws energy downward, like a gentle but persistent drain. Visitors may not notice it, but you will. Over time, you may find yourself experiencing unexplained heaviness. A home that feels like it's always just one step behind joy, or a series of endings that come too soon. Jobs, friendships, goals. This isn't superstition. It's symbolism. And symbolism, repeated daily at the entrance of your life, becomes belief, becomes atmosphere, becomes reality. Willow branches rarely reach upward. They lean, they bend, they weep. That's the energy they project: melancholy, memory, emotional fatigue. And while those energies have a place in nature, they don't belong at your energetic threshold. Your gate should say, "Come in, rise, begin again." The willow says, "Slow down. Let go, prepare to part." People who plant weeping willows near their gates often report similar patterns. Frequent departures, a sense of transience, conversations that loop without resolution, emotions that linger without lifting. It's not a curse, it's coherence. The tree and the life start to match. Another energetic concern with willows is their relationship with water. They crave it, need it, and absorb it deeply. In Feng Shui, excessive water near the front gate can symbolize wealth and luck flowing away, especially when combined with downward-facing branches. It's a double leak. The shape sends energy down, and the roots pull fortune out of the soil. If your finances often feel like they drip away despite stability, and you have a willow at the gate, this may not be a coincidence. There's also the practical side. Weeping willows have invasive root systems. They stretch far and fast, often disrupting plumbing, foundations, and the balance of nearby plants. This mirrors their symbolic nature, emotionally consuming, expansive in subtle but unsettling ways. They don't just grow, they take over. That said, this is not an attack on the willow. In the right place, it is a symbol of emotional release, depth, and quiet contemplation. Cemeteries, lakesides, and reflective gardens are all perfect homes for this tree. But the front gate is not a place for farewells. It's a place for welcomes, for first impressions, for new cycles of energy to begin. And the willow's energy is not a beginning, it's a letting go. If you have a weeping willow near your entry, and you felt the atmosphere in your life turning inward, quiet, or even melancholic, it may be time to relocate it, not destroy it. Just place it where its energy can serve the right purpose. Reflection, not reception. To reset the space, consider replacing it with a plant that lifts energy, one that grows upward with open branches and strong vertical flow. Something that says yes to the day instead of whispering goodbye to what's already past. The beauty of the willow is real, but so is its message. And beauty without alignment can become a distraction from the life you're truly meant to live. Your front gate doesn't need poetry, it needs presence, it needs clarity. It needs to stand at the edge of your life saying, "This is where the good begins." Number 3, mulberry, the weight of yin. Not every tree carries light. Some carry history, deep, quiet, heavy. The mulberry tree is one of them. It grows fast, its branches stretch wide, and its leaves have long been used for nourishment and healing. But when placed at the front gate of a home, its energy shifts from nurturing to draining. In Feng Shui, that distinction matters. The mulberry carries what practitioners call heavy yin. It's not just about shade or root strength, it's about atmosphere. Yin energy, when balanced, brings stillness, rest, and inner reflection. But when excessive, especially at the entrance of a home, it invites stagnation, fatigue, and emotional heaviness. And the mulberry, for all its usefulness, tilts the balance in the wrong direction. At first glance, it looks like any other shade tree. Full, leafy, generous. You may be drawn to its lush growth or how quickly it fills a space. But what most people don't see is the way its energy settles, not upward, not outward, but down, into the ground, into the walls, into the lives of the people living nearby. Families who plant mulberries near their gates often describe a subtle shift. The house feels darker even on bright days. Children become moodier. Arguments echo longer. Health routines fall away. There's a low-grade fatigue that builds slowly like fog that never fully lifts. This isn't imagination. It's energy. The roots of the mulberry tree are invasive. They stretch and spiral beneath the surface, often damaging foundations, pipes, and nearby plants. That alone should raise concern. But energetically, it mirrors a deeper truth. This tree reaches inward, not upward. Its growth takes from its surroundings, drawing in light, water, even vitality. Its historical associations are also telling. Across cultures, the mulberry has been linked to themes of mourning, endings, and ancestral grief. In some traditions, even the phonetic sound of the word resembles loss or farewell. And while that may seem like superstition, the subconscious picks up on it. A tree that sounds like sadness, feels like sadness, and grows like entanglement will eventually shape the tone of your space. If you've placed a mulberry at your front gate because of its shade, beauty, or practicality, you haven't done anything wrong. But it's important to observe. Have you felt your home becoming heavier, not physically, but emotionally? Has momentum slowed, motivation declined, or illness visited more often than usual? These are not always about age or environment. Sometimes they start with what's planted at the threshold. The front gate should hold rising energy. It's the breath of the house, the part that meets the world first. The mulberry, though rich and rooted, speaks in the language of closure, not invitation. It belongs in the back, in corners meant for rest, not reception. If you decide to move a mulberry away from the gate, do it with awareness. Thank the tree for its protection. Honor what it's provided. Then release it to a part of your yard where quiet is needed, perhaps near a fence line or a garden where old emotions can decompose gently into growth. Once the space is cleared, cleanse it, sweep it, light a candle, or open the gate wide on a breezy day to invite energy back in. Then consider what plant to place there next, something light, vertical, and open, something that says, "I'm ready again." Because that's the truth about the wrong energy at the gate. It doesn't just weigh down your fortune. It slowly convinces you that you're not meant to thrive. The mulberry doesn't mean harm, but it carries memory. And if your home is ready to move forward, not just exist, but expand, then the first thing to lighten is what stands between you and the world. The gate is more than an opening. It's your energetic handshake, and the tree beside it. It's either inviting the future in or holding it back. Final, we often overlook the space we pass through the most. The front gate is just there. A backdrop to our mornings, a pathway at night, a transition we rarely pause to feel. And yet, it is one of the most energetically potent places in your entire life. Not because of the structure itself, but because of what it represents. It's where everything begins, every arrival, every departure, every first breath your home takes in the day. And the trees you place near it, they are more than decoration. They are energetic filters, sentinels, invitations, or barriers. What we explored in this video wasn't just landscaping advice. It was an invitation to see your environment as a living extension of your inner life. Because your home is not separate from you. It reflects you. It holds your rhythms, your habits, your memories, and yes, your momentum. When a tree like the rubber fig anchors your gate, it quietly grounds your life. When palms open space for flow, your mind breathes more easily. When the Dracaena blooms, it signals harmony you've built patiently. When a dwarf coconut retains water, it mirrors the emotional steadiness needed to keep what you've worked for. When a mangrove flowers, it doesn't surprise you. It confirms you're in tune. And on the other side, when thorns rise from a cactus at the threshold, you may feel yourself always on edge. When willows bend toward the ground, conversations may droop with them. When a mulberry quietly spreads its roots beneath your life, you may begin to carry a weight you can't name. This isn't about magic, it's about mirrors. Because every object, every plant, every shape you live beside sends a message. Some say, come in, grow, rise. Others whisper, hold back, close down, fade slowly. The beauty of Feng Shui is that it doesn't ask you to believe in luck. It simply invites you to become aware of space, of flow, of the choices we make without realizing how much they shape us. So as you walk through your gate tomorrow morning, notice, how does it feel? What stands beside it? What energy rises with you as you enter your day? If it feels heavy, change it. If it feels open, protect it. And if it feels like it's holding a silence too long, maybe it's time to plant something that knows how to speak when you're ready to listen. Because in the end, a gate is more than a boundary. It's a threshold between who you've been and who you're becoming. And the tree beside it, that's your companion for the journey ahead.